Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I'm going to be making up a Louisiana favorite, the Boudin sausage. Stay tuned. All right, let me glove up real quick. And while I do want to say that I've been wanting to make some Boudin sausage for a long time, probably years, but I've been really nervous about it. I don't know why. I mean, it's a long process, but as far as difficulty, it's not that difficult. So I'm excited to finally make some homemade Boudin sausage. So I have tried authentic Boudin sausage one time and I fell in love, and that's what really pushed me to make this sausage. All right, so I'm starting with just over 14 pounds of boneless pork butt, and Boudin sausage is made with 100% pork. So all I'm going to do here is cut this down into smaller cubes. Just like when I'm making sausage. So I did a ton of research on how to properly make Boudin sausage. I saw a few YouTube videos, read a few books, and also a few articles online. And there are recipes, but they're very rustic. And what I mean by that is there's basic fundamentals or basic ingredients that go into Boudin sausage that you have to follow. But as far as the amounts, they're kind of all over the board. It's a very rustic recipe. And this is going to be a very rustic recipe as well. I'm not going to measure anything, okay? But I am starting with just over 14 pounds of pork. So as I start to add ingredients, I will tell you guys exactly how much I used for these 14 pounds of pork, and I'll tell you how I came up with that conclusion, and hopefully it makes sense to you guys. I'm also going to cut up 2.5 pounds of beef liver. Now, I will say that traditionally, Boudin is made with pork liver, but I could not find it. Now, you could substitute it with chicken liver or beef liver. I chose to use beef liver because I'm not a really big fan of chicken livers. Now, growing up, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and my grandmother used to make the absolute best liver and onions, but it's been years since I've had liver and onions. All right, so I've got the pork butt and our beef liver cut up. Now I'm going to brown up the pork butt in this large pot. And since we have so much, I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. Now, this step right here is 100% optional, but I believe you get a ton of flavor by browning up the pork first. So I'm going to brown up this pork, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've browned up all of our pork, and I just pulled it out. And do not get rid of all of that deliciousness right there in that pot. I'm going to go ahead and pour in our onions, bell peppers, and garlic. Just give this a really good mix. Scrape the bottom, get all those yum-yums out, like my buddy Emerald Lagasse used to say. I'm also going to be adding some celery. I'm also using the celery leaves. There's a ton of flavor, so do not get rid of those. Chop them up and throw them into your Boudin. So as far as the onions, bell peppers, and celery, that's very traditional in Boudin. Now, as far as the measurements, that's where a lot of the recipes were kind of all over the board, but I came up with this recipe right here. So I'm using 2 celery stalks, 4 bell peppers, and 4 medium-sized onions for this recipe. So I also added 2 heads of garlic, and I did leave the garlic whole, as you can see right here. And the reason for that is we're going to be boiling this and grinding it as well. So I'm going to cook these vegetables down for a little bit, let these onions get nice and translucent, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so the vegetables have cooked down a bit. That only took about 10-15 minutes. That is perfect. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add our beef liver. Give that a really good mix. Man, the aroma that's in my house right now is absolutely savage. Smells so freaking good in here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add our browned up pork. Just on top, just like that. All right, I'm going to add some water, just enough to cover the pork. There we go, just like that. All right, so up to this point, I haven't added any seasonings, but I am going to be adding some of this Sweet Smokin Joe Creole kick. Now, I'm going to add half a cup right now, and I'm going to add some more later when we get to taste it. But if you have not tried the Sweet Smokin Joe Creole kick, this Cajun rub right here is so good. I've had it on chicken, and I've had it on fish, and I know it's going to pair extremely well with our Boudin. So I just added half a cup of that seasoning, and again, I'm going to add some more later in the cook once we add the rice to the Boudin and we get to taste it. So I'm just going to mix this up really good. All right, so at this point, I'm just going to cover our pot. I'm going to let this boil for about 3 hours. I'll bring you guys back when this is really nice and tender. Stay tuned. All right, so our pork and our veggies is ready, and it was boiling for about 3.5 hours, and check it out. This pork just falls apart. It is so tender. I mean, I almost want to shred it instead of grinding it, but I'm going to go ahead and grind it. I've already got my grinder set up. So I'm using a 10mm die to grind up our pork and our veggies, and this is still really hot, so here we go. All right, check that out. Got a really nice grind. The nice thing about this being so tender, that any meat that's stuck inside of your grinder, you can just scoop it out and use it. All right, so now for the fun part, let's go ahead and add our white rice. So I want to let you guys know exactly how much rice I use, just in case you guys want to make 14 pounds of Boudin. So there's 8 cups and 12 cups. I do have some cotton gloves on. We're going to be mixing this by hand. Man, the aroma is crazy amazing right now. Look at this. Whoo, baby. Remember, we only added about half a cup of seasoning to our pork once we were boiling it. So I am going to be adding a little bit more seasoning as I go. Look at that. That actually looks really good. So 12 cups of rice to 14 pounds of pork. All right, so I chopped up some green onions as well. And I've got 5 bunches of green onions. I'm just gonna eyeball this as well. Look at that. Let me mix it. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, definitely need more. So I am gonna add the entire 5 bunches of green onion tops. I'm also gonna be adding some parsley. I've got 2 little bushels of parsley that I chopped up, just the leaves. And you know what? I'm gonna add it all as well. So now I'll mix this up by hand again. Oh yes. This is still really nice and hot. Now it is looking a little dry. Remember, we have that delicious broth where we boiled our veggies and our pork, and I will be adding some of that. All right, here's our broth. Look at that beautiful color. I'm gonna save this broth, use it for something else as well. That was about 3 cups. Now you don't want a complete mush, but you don't want it dry either. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys were here to smell this. I'm gonna add 1 more cup. So I'm gonna add some more of this Creole kick from Sweet Smokin Joe. This is our Cajun Seasoning. I'm also gonna be adding some coarse black pepper. A lot of the recipes that I saw did have quite a bit of black pepper. All right, so I'm just gonna mix this by hand one more time. Unless, of course, I need to add more seasoning, then I will mix it again. All right, so I'm gonna give this a quick taste and see if I need to add any more seasoning before we case this up. So here we go. That tastes really good, but it needs a lot more seasoning. So I'm gonna add some more of this Creole kick. All right, so I added some more seasoning and 2.5 tablespoons of salt, and I think we got it. Here we go. That is perfect right there. Got me sweating. Let's stuff these casings. All right, we're almost ready to stuff up these casings, but before I do that, I want to introduce you guys to my brand new 25-pound motorized stuffer from Made with Meat. Check this beauty out. I absolutely love this thing. It's got storage for all of your extension cords along with your foot pedal on this side. But I'm more excited about this piston right here because it's got a really large seal instead of a double lip seal, which sometimes gets bound up when you're lowering the piston down into your container. So this is brand new from Made with Meat, and it is a beauty. It is a tank. It is huge, and I absolutely love it. So again, this is a 25-pound canister. Let's go ahead and load up our boudin, and look at this. So this is going to give you an idea of how much boudin we have, because we started with 14 pounds of pork and 2.5 pounds of liver. So I'm going to estimate that we have 20 pounds of boudin because we are close to the top, but not quite there. So I'm going to guess 20 pounds. So let's load up our canister. Put our stuffing tube on. Now this stuffer does come with metal stuffing tubes. As you can see, I'm not a fan of the plastic tubes. All right, let's lower our piston, and it does come with a foot pedal, so here we go. Now I did add a little bit of olive oil to that seal, just so it slips down really nice and easy. All right, so let's load up our casing on our horn here. Brad, that one's for you. Finally, we have reached the end, so I'm just going to tie a knot right here at the end. Punch a couple of holes right here. And we are ready to go. Beautiful. It's kind of strange stuffing a hot sausage, but I think that heat's really going to set that casing. All right, so just tie a knot at the end here. And we are almost done. So at this point, I'm just going to go around and remove any air pockets that might be in our casings. All right, the only thing left to do is to twist up our sausages right here. So I've got my tray marked at 7 inches. So I like to pinch right here at 7 inches, measure another 7 inches, pinch, and then twist until that casing is nice and tight. And look at that, beautiful. So I'm just going to repeat this about 30 times, and as soon as I'm done, I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got our boudin all twisted up. Next step is I'm going to pop these in my fridge overnight, let all those ingredients just kind of marry each other and come together. Tomorrow, we're going to smoke these. Stay tuned. All right, so I just pulled the boudin out of the fridge. Next step is I'm going to separate the links. Just cut right in between each of the twists, just like that. And I'm going to be placing these sausages on a rack that I'm going to place inside of my smoker. So here are the racks that I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to separate them. Make sure we got plenty of airflow around each link. And I'll see you guys outside. All right, so I've got my Lone Star grills running at 260 degrees. And I'll give you guys one guess as to what brand of pellets I'm using. Okay, I'll wait. You got that right. Smokin' pecan shell pellets. So let's load up these sausages. Smoky. So here's one rack. We should have plenty of room for all 4. Look at that. Look at all that space. Here's rack number 2. Number 3. And last but not least, number 4. Look at that. We got plenty of room. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys think this Lone Star Grills produces plenty of smoke? Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and close the door. Ooh-wee. All right, so at this point, we're just going to cook the casing. Remember, the inside of the boudin is 100% cooked. We're going to give these sausages a good smoky flavor as well as a nice color on the outside. I'll see you guys inside. All right, so after 3 hours at 260 degrees, our boudin is ready. And check these out. They've got a really nice dark color. They almost took on the color of the pellets that I'm using. But the aroma, I'm going to tell you right now, is absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to slide some of these over. We're going to cut right into this bad boy right here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Totally different sausage than what I'm used to cooking. But I got to tell you, this smells so darn good. Let's give it a taste. All right, let's give this boudin a try. I have been waiting 2 days to try this sausage. Here we go. That is amazing. You know, a lot of Cajuns say that you should squeeze the filling out of the sausage itself and just eat the inside of it. But that casing is super bite through. So a lot of people eat Boudin with maybe some mustard and some pickles and some crackers. No, this is a standalone sausage. You know, as far as the flavor, this Boudin has such an amazing flavor. Has just a little bit of kick from our seasoning. Good smoky flavor. I am really loving this sausage. You guys that have been following me for several years know that I've made a ton of sausages, but this one right here is my all-time favorite. That's right, this Boudin has definitely set the bar extremely high, and it is by far my favorite sausage. This is delicious. So I know some of you guys might be asking, is the flavor of the beef liver really strong in the sausage? It's not. It's so mild that you can't tell it's there. In fact, I bet you most people that eat this sausage won't be able to tell that there's liver in this Boudin. So if you're Cajun or from Louisiana, do me a favor, leave me a comment down below and tell me how I did on this Boudin recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed this Boudin sausage video. If this is your first time to my channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.